All right, welcome to another installment of the Fragments of Silicon reviews. Um, the show must go on even when major sporting events are happening, of which there are quite a few on this day. And with that in mind, we have 4 videos, 3 reviews, 1 impressions, which is up right now with Scrabdackle. I think that's how that's pronounced. I mean, you look at the title; it's a bunch of letters thrown together.
Mm.
Like this is an actual word. It's the place you're exploring. Not sure if it's like a continent or just a country. It's a certain part of the landmass at the very least.
I was expecting it to be something like Scrabble with a name like that, but
well, that's a copyrighted phrase.
that's why they added more to it, But I get you.
I mean, I get what you're saying because, my mind kind of tilts that way, wanting to call it Scrabdackle.
Mm-hmm.
But no. As far as I know and can discern, it's Scrabdackle. So, and it's also, there's no voice acting in the game, so nobody tries to pronounce the word. So, it's one of those, if it's pronounced some other way, that's just in the developer's head, or what have you.
Or one of those, we'll need an interview to decide how they actually want it, pronounced.
Right. I mean, I didn't get any special notes about pronunciation, so I'm assuming it's Scrabdackle. With that in mind, this magical misadventure of a novice wizard thrown literally into the unfamiliar world outside. Go on a sprawling, hand-drawn adventure with spells to study, bosses to best, and huge handcrafted world. Okay, this is where a thesaurus comes into handy because you used handcrafted twice here. To traverse on the long journey home. And that's a good summation of what this game is in the broad strokes. In terms of genre, it's a top-down adventure game with twin-stick shooter mechanics, basically. And yes, you can play that way with a controller. I would not particularly recommend it because it doesn't play like an actual twin-stick shooter. It's twin-stick shooter-esque. By that I mean you move around with the right stick, you aim with the left stick, and then you use the right bumper to shoot. So there's an extra step there. Keep in mind with your traditional twin-stick shooters, you just need to use the stick to shoot.
I
so
mean, I've
when you
played
add
some where you've had to use the triggers.
Yeah, but here's the thing: those are always awkward and gangly, and just tells me that you built that for a mouse because that's a control scheme, especially when you're using the shoulder buttons. Like not even the trigger. It's grafted to the bumper on an Xbox controller, which is 10 times more awkward for firing mechanics.
Right. That's like a pre-Half-Life or pre-Halo type of, firing mechanism.
Something like that. It's like playing one of these things on the Sega Genesis or Nintendo Entertainment System, where you didn't have a twin controller set up most of the time. There was the occasional game that, realized that there are 2 controllers. But by and large, it's like, where you aim is where you shoot. Anyway, the point is very awkward to play and use. It's very clearly designed for a keyboard and mouse. I'm saying the option is there, but it's clunky. And I don't know if that's something that's going to be tweaked. I'm not sure if it can. Like other things like the spyglass functionality is also attuned to the cursor. It operates in the same fashion. And like I said, everything on a controller is just awkward except for movement. And you don't really need the fine controls of an analog controller for this game. So, that's my impressions of the mechanics, by and large. I'll admit, I didn't really get all that far in this game because it's quite difficult. You start, you only have 5 hits, and it's one of these checkpoint things, and I kept getting, in the first major... I'm not sure if it's like it's kind of a dungeon, but it's outdoors.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense? Yeah. Yeah, and the enemies hit hard, too. Like, this trash demon, or goblin, or whatever the fuck, he'll take an entire potion away from you. And it's like that through the game. Also, it's quite easy to fall.
Yeah.
Honestly, that was the thing I was least fond of. Later on, there are not jumping puzzles, but, let's call them dashing puzzles. Yeah. So in terms of gameplay, everything here is fine, not amazing, but that's not really where I think this game was aiming in terms of its strengths. Some of it's in its aesthetical designs, this hand-drawn crayon look is quite stark and striking. Doubly so because it's not pitified. I.e., you see a game like this, you'd assume it was aimed for 8-year-olds at perhaps first glance.
Yeah.
But what gives it away that this isn't for kids? It's the color palette and the tone. There's a lot of earth tones, a lot of greens, a lot of brown. It's got a realistic-esque shading, i.e., there's no fucking bright colors, there's no pastels, out the gates. The town is more lively, but still has the muted color design. It's not like that everywhere, but if you know what a kid's game looks like, it's brightness and pastels and, sugar for the eyes all the live long day. So kudos for that. But really the strength here is in the writing. Now, this is being published by Fellow Traveler, but it's not one of their narrative-focused games. Or at least, the narrative kind of takes a backseat to character writing. Very much in the interaction with Blue, that's the wizard you're playing as. You can change his name, but it's one of those, okay, you named him Joe, it doesn't really matter much kind of deals. He's still got his own personality.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of has to, because, he's an actual character who talks and interacts with people. And it's also, that's beyond dialogue choices, because, some games, have silent protagonists who technically talk via choices in dialogue boxes. No, this guy actually talks in dialogue boxes that you don't choose. So, anyway, with that in mind, yeah, everything here is fine, and very well polished. So, there's a few flavors of early access title out there. This is one of the rarer kinds. Indeed, it's been a long time since I can think of something that's going to spend this long in early access. Because the key here is not necessarily, like game mechanics or play testing that, polish. It's content. So the developer has laid out that apparently this is planning to be a 3-act, 40 to 50 hour grand adventure. And here's what you get in Act 1. A full and polished 12 to 18 hour experiences with 10 regions, 9 bosses, 6 spells, and 90 minutes of music. About 60 other unique collectibles from hidden secrets and challenges. Yeah, this game likes its secrets. Invisible walls. So be sure to do the Wolfenstein thing of pushing against everything and anything. And the point is, that's a lot of content for an act. And it's basically taking the Deltarune methodology here. As in, a third of the game is available now, but nothing beyond that, as far as I understand. Because it's not a, as soon as it's done, it's being added to the game, at least in the next area. I did come across a quest that did say, it's there, but it's not done. It needs Act 2 and or 3 to be completed. So there is that as well. And the other thing is, it's going to take maybe not a Deltarune's length of time to actually get all of it out, but it's still going to take the longest amount of time that I can think of for an early access project that we have featured on the program in quite some time. Because we are looking at 2 years. Yeah, keep in mind that's on the current plan. It could be longer.
Yeah. Stop us if you've heard this one where an indie game has been delayed for a little while.
Yeah. The point is, no matter how you look at it, even in the most optimistic projections, this is a commitment. They're not saying they're going to be done in 6 weeks, 6 months, not even a year. They're saying 2 years to get this done, at least. So that's why I ultimately have to say my impressions are cautiously favorable.
Right.
Because the game is highly polished. In fact, it's verging on something special here. The issue is it's asking for a very long tail in terms of its development. Like the kind of tail that not only could easily turn into 4 years, 5 years because, as far as I can tell, this is primarily being spearheaded by a solo dev. Maybe he has a small merry band of friends / contractors working with him, but point is, it's not a large team.
Well, there's also the issue of getting it now could lead to forgetting you have it when it's done type situation.
Well, this is the good part of early access. If you buy now, you buy forever. You know, because they're not like, this isn't part 1, this isn't chapter 1, this isn't, the first game, none of that business. And they're not looking to sell parts 2 and 3 as DLC. So that means part 2 and part 3 will be integrated into this package. So if you buy now, you will have the entire game.
Well,
So
it's not even about not having it, it's getting it and forget you have it. Like, if you were very interested in it at the start, if this takes 2 to 3 years to finish, you might even forget it exists by that time.
I mean, I'm not sure how you avoid that problem.
Fair enough.
Outside of putting out news blasts and such.
Either that or just put it on your wish list and wait till it's ready to go. See how you feel about it then.
See, that gets
might
into
increase the price once more content is out,
Yeah.
Yes,
that's a reasonable thing to do.
And from the Steam notes, they are actually saying, yes, they will increase the price. When Act 2 releases, the price will increase slightly. I'm going to assume that slightly means like $5 here. But it's not clear, so that could be like $10.
Yeah. It could be $200.
Slightly has some wiggle room. Yeah.
I would say slightly is 25% or less.
Yeah. Yes. That's what you would say. It's a question of what they would say slightly means. Keep that in mind. Like,
fair enough.
And when Act 3 releases, it will increase slightly again. So there is the potential of this getting a $5 to, let's say, $20 price increase. Also, keep in mind, this may also depend on how development goes. Because we've seen this as well. Game takes longer to make. More money was spent than planned. Oops, it turns out we have to charge a bit more than what we initially thought because we got to recoup costs or whatever.
Right.
That is the risk of early access. In terms of how the game plays, I'd actually say go for it right now. The game is retailing for $14.99, or if you want the game and the soundtrack, $22.48. I would just buy the game. I didn't really find the soundtrack to be anything special.
Do you know if the soundtrack is available in other places, or?
I did not look. But it's possible it's not
just know
available.
That getting the soundtracks on Steam is sometimes a pain in the butt to put it other places.
Okay, just a quick look on to YouTube. Yeah, it's on YouTube.
All right.
The developer themselves have put it on YouTube. And it looks like it's the full soundtrack, or at least the Act 1 soundtrack. Yeah. So, there you go. Once again, putting that aside, $15 for what you're getting in this package right now, I would say go for it. Because while it's not a complete experience, it's quite a full experience right now. It's literally a third of the game. So, yeah, it's going to take some time, but it's also getting through this chunk is expected to take about, let's say, 20 hours. That's not a bad prospect for an early access title. Especially one that is technically in the early stages of early access. So, like I said, if the game tickles your fancy, I would say go for it. Otherwise, yeah, perhaps a bit of hesitation would be in order.
Mm.
So, yeah, I think that's about what I got here. Petty, Galax, anything you wish to add?
No, I think it's interesting.
Yeah, no, I think I'm good.
Yeah, it's a good, solid hand. So with that in mind, that'll about do it for Scrabdackle here. Be sure to tune in after the break as Petty reviews Cathridge. Sorry, Cat. Go.